Hello and welcome to section 1, You Create Pain. And I'm guessing we don't often ask ourselves the question, how am I creating pain for myself in my life? You probably think it's other people that create pain for you whenever you're feeling upset when someone says something or does something to you. You immediately connect your feeling of upsetness to what they've said or done. You don't, at that moment that you're upset or feeling angry or frustrated, think to yourself, I wonder why I'm feeling this way. I wonder if when I'm blaming that other person, that I'm actually creating pain for myself. I wonder if it's not just so clear cut that it's the other person that's causing me pain or the circumstance. Maybe there's something else going on underneath. So we'll be asking those questions to ourselves when we're going through this first section. And the first way that we create pain for ourselves is circumstances. We looked at that briefly at the introduction. So as I mentioned, circumstances are people or events in our lives. And we make this connection down to our feelings of pain and feelings of pleasure. And we probably aren't very clear about that connection. It probably seems very unconscious. And my experience living with a teenager in the family is that they make it really clear the connection between what you're doing and what's happening to them and their feelings. My daughter, for example, could arrive at a meal time and sit down at the table and she's smiling and she's happy. And halfway through the conversation, she's upset with her brother or upset with one of her parents. And she would come out with a statement, well, I was happy before I sat down and now you've made me upset. You've really annoyed me. And then she would judge those people around her and what they're like for making her upset. And so she's really clear that you make me upset. Before I sat down at the table, I was happy, and now after the way you've spoken to me, I'm really upset. And so it's beautiful watching other people and how they make that clear connection, because that's their experience. We have that experience every single day where we have something happening to us and then we feel upset or joyful afterwards. One of the experiences that I use is the weather, for example. If we're looking outside and we've planned a day out with the family and it's pouring down with rain, we connect the rain to feeling frustrated or sad or disappointed. And of course, there isn't any connection between the circumstance, which is the rain, and how we're feeling. But we make that connection automatic that we don't even think about it. And if you take another example, you're going to work and you're driving your car and you're a little bit late and you're kind of rushing. And at a place where it's difficult to overtake, someone pulls out in front of you driving very slowly and you know you're going to be stuck behind them for quite a while. And your feelings change from being a little bit anxious to being frustrated, annoyed, or even angry and full of rage. And what's happening there is we think, well, okay, the change in circumstances, the car pulling out, is the cause of my change of feeling. We never, at that moment that that's happening, think to ourselves, oh, I wonder how I'm creating pain for myself in this situation right now when I'm driving to work and this person pulls out driving slowly in front of me. And we create pain for ourselves by making a connection that isn't there between circumstances and feelings. Well, you might ask, well, how did we start making that connection? That connection is probably a result of a deep inner choice beyond this identity as a body. But before we get to explaining it in those sort of terms, let's look at how, as children, our parents and everyone around us really reinforced our inner belief that circumstances are the cause of how we're feeling. So as I mentioned, circumstances up here include other people as well as events. But the other people up here, we're going to put yourself up here as a child, and we're going to have your parents down here and what they're feeling. So you're going to be one of the circumstances as a child. So there's obviously hundreds of these circumstances when we're little children. It could be anything from making a mess of your new clothes, spilling food on the floor, not doing what your parents would like to do, talking to them in a way they don't like. And we have circumstances up here causing lots of feelings for our parents. They're upset, they're frustrated, they're angry, they're disappointed, and they're telling us that what we're doing, our behavior, slamming that door, is making them really upset and annoyed. And so we learn to reinforce this circle. And of course, if we decide to be good boys and girls, we will change our behavior so that we do as little upsetting of other people as possible. We'll change our behavior so that we give pleasure to other people. Our parents are really proud of us because of our achievements at school and our behavior when we're out somewhere at someone else's house. And so we get to see and reinforce this even more. But of course, learning how to do that and reinforcing that comes at a great cost, because we disconnect to who we truly are. And we disconnect as well to who other people are. We make other people into kind of puppets that we can control by doing nice things or doing horrible things, and then they get upset. And so this whole way of interacting and relating really takes us further and further away from our true self. But I don't think there can be any other way of really growing up and starting our lives in this world but looking at situations in these terms. But I think the mistake is not moving on from that. The mistake is repeating that over and over through your whole life, rather than questioning that and going, well, how am I really creating pain for myself in this situation? And isn't it time to move on? Time to move on, to look at a different way and change. And of course, if we don't move on, we become down here parents, and we have our own children, perhaps, or friends or whatever, and what they're doing, we're saying, well, when you speak to me in that way, I'm really upset. You should be respecting your parents. And we're repeating the same thing. We're connecting their behavior and what they say to our feelings of hurt and upsetness. And so we create over and over again this whole idea, and that comes, as I say, at enormous cost. And we're going to look a little bit more into that in a bit more detail with clear examples from workshops that I've conducted, and taking examples from that, and we'll go through that step by step, and we'll do some exercises to really let that sink in as to what's really going on when we make other people and we make events in our life the cause of how we feel. It's the number one way of creating pain for ourselves. So I'll see you very shortly in the slide presentation. Thank you.